St. Petersburg, Florida, beautiful beaches, beautiful waterways, and this weekend plays host to the IndyCar Series opener and NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series. We are making history as it's the first time ever the truckers will take on a street course, and we welcome you to practice and qualifying live from St. Petersburg, Florida. Gorgeous shots all around. Butterbean Queen, he's ready to try his hand at turning left and right. First of 4 times we'll be doing this. How about our outsiders? It's Jimmy Hinch. That's James Hinchcliffe making his NASCAR debut. And how about a couple of legends just hanging out on pit road? That's Jimmy Johnson, 7-time champion, and Dario Franchitti, Indy 500 winner, champion winning driver. He makes his return, and we welcome you. I'm Jamie Little, joined by Michael Waltrip, and we welcome in from IndyCar on Fox, analyst extraordinaire, and not a bad wheelman yourself, that's Townsend Bell. Happy to have you both.
Oh man, it's great to be here. I'm so excited for this practice session. For the last 6 months, roughly, since this was announced, I, along with all of the IndyCar community, have been fascinated to see this right here, NASCAR Craftsman trucks on the streets of St. Pete. What is going to happen? 36 trucks, Michael, on a 1.8-mile street circuit.
Probably the most anticipated practice session we've had in a long time. But what about this 26th season, Jamie? We started off at Daytona with a 4-wide pass for the win. Go to Atlanta, the racing was crazy there. And now we're in St. Pete racing trucks on the streets. This is awesome as we hop on board with Dario Franchitti.
Tricon Garage for Dario. How about this? I mean, he retired from full-time racing back in 2013, and here he is, Townsend, in 2026. He said, you know, I'm going to give it a whirl, and he happens to jump in one of the best trucks available.
Yeah, it's important to remember that his retirement was forced, really. Massive injuries after a huge crash on the streets of Houston in the IndyCar. And Dario, one thing he never lost was his passion for going fast and his desire to compete. And when this opportunity came up, I think he saw the intersection of his experience here, his race-winning experience at St. Pete, his curiosity from a short NASCAR career that never really got into full song, and he just couldn't resist the opportunity to jump in this Dollar Tree Toyota and send it as there's contact already.
Cole Butcher into the wall hard. We'll just come back to the garage.
So you saw 50 minutes.
Again into the wall.
A lot of damage there. Cole Butcher.
Wow, that's unfortunate. This place is tight for these trucks. Braking is hard, and you swing just a little bit wide, and this is the result.
Just talked to Cole about an hour ago, and this is something new to him. The Canadian driver running full-time this year for Thor Sport. Not the way you want to get things started. You saw there, it's 50-minute all skate, as they say in IndyCar, all trucks on track, trying to learn as much as possible. Let's see what happened here for Cole Butcher.
Oh, loose.
Just trying to ride the throttle with big oversteer coming out of turn 4, and then that left rear clips this tire stack and then just kind of tank slaps him right into the concrete, and he's really struggling just to get his truck back to pit lane.
I was talking to him this morning, Jamie, and he'd never been on a road course in a big vehicle, some Legends cars, but just absolutely so excited to get out on this track and try things out. It just didn't go well.
So caution is out here 4 minutes into this session as Cole Butcher tries to make his way back to pit lane. We'll step aside. Lots more action still to come, hoping to qualify here if the weather cooperates. Ooh. Well, we talked about Dario Franchitti. He's pretty much done it all in his career. A 4-time IndyCar champion. 3 Indy 500 wins. In fact, his last career win was an Indy 500. First NASCAR race, look how different he looks. Back in 2008, and here he is trying it again in the Truck Series. And before the session started, Amanda Busick caught up with Dario and Jimmy Johnson.
Well, it is an absolute historic day here in St. Pete as the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series come to the street of St. Pete, and so does Dario Franchitti. It is so awesome to sit next to you in a fire suit. You just told me that you're nervous. How do you bat that, Dario?
You know, I think anytime I get in a racing car, I'm nervous. And the nerves are about just trying to do a good job. That is really it. And then, you know, a couple of minutes here, I'll get in the truck and I'll shut everything out and I'll be fine. But up until then, it's there's a lot of things going on, and yeah, I think it's a natural thing. In my younger days, I didn't enjoy that feeling. As I got older, more experienced, I learned that this is kind of a privilege of being in these positions. So just enjoy it.
Well, to his right is Jimmy Johnson, who will be somewhat of an advisor here this week. And you wanted to be named #1 fan for Dario this weekend, but you've changed that, Jimmy. What is it now?
Well, with our friendship and 2 years of payback that I have coming because he was my driver coach in IndyCar, I think Chief Aggravation Officer would be more appropriate. So, but either way, just such a pleasure to be here and thankful that Dollar Tree jumped on board and Toyota's support, the great people at Tricon, and Dario gets to go out and smile a little bit in a race car.
Dario, it is almost go time. I know with the weather in the area, you're going to go straight out on track. Final thoughts?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, isn't it? I know the track very well. I'd say I know most of every bump in the place, but that's really my frame of reference is an IndyCar. This will be interesting. Good
luck, Dario. And is it track or is it truck knowledge that'll reign here in St. Pete?
Well, we will find out, Amanda. And just as we were hearing from Dario, guys, he jumped to the top of the board for a split second. Now he's back in fourth. So some great speed by the old veteran.
Very impressive start to this session, getting his feel for this truck and checking out every bump on this racetrack that he already knows about. How will those affect this truck? Though, look at that thing bounce around. These things are wildly different than what he's used to.
Wildly different, especially in terms of spring rate. You look at Dario riding that curb right there through the fast chicane. You would never touch that in an IndyCar. In fact, Joseph Newgarden crashed in practice already today by just kissing that curb. But in one of these Craftsman trucks, you can ride the curbs, and the spring settings are so much softer. The whole thing moves around a lot more roll, a lot more pitch, and a lot more heave as Dario fires into turn one. But you look at Ty Majeski at a 20.2. Michael, you pointed out he was almost a second quicker than Dario Franchitti. So truck knowledge versus track knowledge. Every single lap of green here, the full-time Truck Series drivers, I think, really start to get the upper hand because it takes longer, in my opinion, to learn a truck than a track.
You know what, Jamie and I are fortunate. We get to watch these incredibly talented young racers come to NASCAR for the first time and run on the big tracks, run on the road courses. We have some extremely talented racers that are truck regulars. Lane Riggs is a guy that comes to mind when I'm talking about who can win. Chandler Smith, Ben Rhodes, so many guys that these IndyCar drivers are going to see how good they really are.
Well, another member of our team making her NASCAR debut, Miss Georgia Henneberry. Hello, lady. Good to see you with us here.
Well, hello, Jamie. It's nice to be a part of this crew. I want to talk about James Hinchcliffe. And he's James Hinchcliffe to the IndyCar world, but he's Jimmy Hinch to the NASCAR world. You're going to see that on the side of his car, and there's a great story behind it. At just 15 years old, when he went to get his racing license, a man named Don asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, and he said, I want to be an IndyCar driver. And he said, yeah, with a name like James Hinchcliffe, you have to be an IndyCar driver. If you go race NASCAR, it has to be Jimmy Hinch. And he vowed to him that day, if he ever made it to NASCAR, he was going to be Jimmy Hinch. Now, you'll see that on the side of his car all weekend long. Expectations for James Hinchcliffe, he said the best way to go into it is not to have expectations and just keep it clean. So that's what he's going to try to do today.
Thank you, Georgia. That's such a great story.
It's fun. I've been working with Hinch the last few seasons, of course, on IndyCar, now on Fox, and I always call him off air Little Jimmy, so I'll go one step further. Little Jimmy Hinch is who's in the 77 right now.
And they're all chasing Caden Honeycutt. We know how good that team is and how good Caden is.
And one of the big advantages for these Toyota truck drivers is a little secret weapon back in Charlotte on the simulator, and that's the sister program, the Lexus racing team, and the lead driver, Jack Hawksworth, former IndyCar driver. He's done a little bit of Truck Series racing, and I think actually in the Xfinity Series last year, O'Reilly Series now. But Caden Honeycutt has got Jack Hawksworth coaching him back on the simulator and giving him lots of little insights about how to navigate around a street circuit. And not just Honeycutt, all those Toyota drivers have access to Jack and that Toyota simulator. It's been a big part of their, I think, success in getting prepared here. Of course, all teams have simulators going now, but I think it's the Ram team, I believe, that doesn't have a track model for St. Pete.
They don't, and I think the caution's out. I saw some sprinkles on some of the cameras, but I was talking to Butterbean Queen, and he said, I've been on iRacing, I've been twitching, I've been TikToking, I'm doing everything I can to learn how to race around this racetrack. And he shares all that content with his fans as well.
Huge for James Hinchcliffe to go P4. He sat on pit lane for a while. I don't know if they were making adjustments to his 77 truck, but to go P4 and kind of get caught up is pretty impressive. And with sprinkles now, will it stop?
And, you know, look at that difference between first and second. That just tells you what a heater Honeycutt put down. That's nearly a second, 8 cents faster. So big lap for Caden.
You brought up the resources, so many resources for these drivers. It's just what works for them. Most of them had never seen this track until they opened it up for the track walk yesterday. But from people that we talked to in the garage, it seems pretty accurate. The iRacing models, the simulations that they have, it was spot on.
Yeah.
Adam Andretti with the top 10 start to this day. That's
what a
good run for
run
him
last week.
Yeah,
Michael.
that was fun.
I mean, first time out in a truck, qualified top 10, finished 12th.
There's those curbs.
Garcia having some fun getting sideways. We're under caution here at St. Pete for the second time. NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series from St. Petersburg, Florida. We're under caution, a little bit of rain in the area. And that gives us a chance to check out this track we've been talking about. It's the first time ever for this series racing on a street course, 1.8 mile, 14 turns.
What do you think, Townsend, is the most opportune place to pass a guy on this track?
It's got to be turns 1, turns 4, and turns 10 right there. All big brake zones. You know, I come from the IndyCar world, Michael. My race car weighed about 1,700 pounds. Trucks, double that.
Yes.
What does that mean? Brake zones are double as long to get them woed up for these corners. So I think the differentiator is going to be at these long straightaways. No better place than right here. Turn 1, it's a runway the rest of the year. It is wide, it is smooth, but it is crowned in the middle. So when you're coming in on the brakes and you're coming in on this line and coming down to that apex, you have to cross over the crown right here. And it can make for some troublesome braking dynamics, easy to lock an inside front.
How cool do you think it is to see these trucks hopping these curbs? I mean, that's got to be cool for you to buy. You don't do that in any car.
I spent a lot of time talking to Jimmy Hinch and to Franchitti about how much curb running they were able to do. Those guys were able to run their trucks at Sebring for a test, and they said, oh, you don't want to touch the curbs at all. And I was like, really?
That doesn't sound like a truck.
Didn't last long at all. We saw the experts, the regulars, just absolutely motoing a lot of the curbs around here. Here's the 98.
That's Jake Garcia
going to take the jump here.
And like I said, that's what wrecked Joseph Newgarden in IndyCar practice. He took about 5% of that curb, and it got him loose, and he ended up down in the entrance to turn 13. But I think what's going to happen right now, if it does dry up, is the drivers that are watching, their crew chiefs are probably saying, hey, I was watching on the video.
Yeah.
A lot of guys are taking mad curbs. You got to get after it.
So we have the choose here for NASCAR. You see it painted on the track right there.
Beautiful orange triangle-ish.
Because we don't do single file here.
We double them up.
We will double them up for each restart, and they get to choose what lane they want to be in on each restart. Well, we talked about Caden Honeycutt. 6 laps in, Amanda, and he's fastest.
Yeah, Jamie, and I was parked on his radio when I heard his spotter say there's sprinkles in turn 1, and I think you guys can see the sprinkles fall in front of this camera. Unfortunate, but hopefully we'll get these trucks back on the streets of St. Pete here. Caden Honeycutt told me earlier today that he has worked so hard heading into this race, and you just told me you feel amazing. What's this experience like so far, Caden?
It was awesome. I was so underestimating the grip level that I had. You know, we do a great job, Toyota, at Simulator to guess on where we're at. So yeah, I mean, I feel like Adam and everybody at Toyota nailed it on the simulator. We worked really hard on this for a couple months. Us as a team, Scott, David, Tim, all my guys did a really good job. Yeah, I went out there and honestly, I just tried to go and do it like I did the Roval and pretend like I knew what I was doing and try to run the best laps I could. But yeah, I mean, I felt like I was a little bit off for where my potential was, but still felt really good. And thanks Safe Flight Toyota and everyone for giving a great piece. And Scott at home, we sure miss him not having our leader at the racetrack, but we miss him and we'll see him pretty soon.
Well, I do want to, since you've already had a look at the track, you guys were able to pull some minutes and some laps out there. Anything that sticks out to you?
I think the bumps are a little bit treacherous if you don't hit your braking point right and you try to brake while on the bumps. So worked on that. and I worked on some brake markers too in the one. Obviously we didn't get much laps, but I feel like there was some potential there. So yeah, I feel like I could have grabbed a good chunk of time from where we were at. So I feel like the track has got a lot of crown in it. That was one of the things Jack Hawksworth helped me with a lot on the sim, is recognizing on the racetrack. So yeah, it'll be different going in the rain though if we end up going to qualifying. But I wish we can go off practice times, but I know it's not going to happen. But yeah, just thanks everyone to Toyota and Tricon and this 11 team on Safe Flight that lets me do this. And you know, two super speedways weren't the forte, but we get to go and get some other racetracks in. I'm excited to be here at St. Pete to try to get our first one.
Well, keep enjoying it here, Caden.
I will do. Thank you.
Very impressive for Caden Honeycutt. He mentioned his crew chief Scott Zipadelli at home with a badly broken leg. He just sent me a picture. He's bummed he's not here. He's missing out. But look at these boys out there having a good time for the first time. The streets of St. Pete. It's St. Petersburg, Florida. These drivers got a handful of laps in, hoping certainly to get more as it's their first opportunity to race here. And you know, we talked to some of the drivers about their thoughts of racing on a street course.
St. Pete is going to be treacherous. It's really fast, really tight, narrow. One little nick against that concrete wall, your day's done. It's going to be really cool to be the first street course for the trucks and be there with the Indy cars. I think it's going to be a really big weekend for NASCAR.
I mean, a street course with a bunch of trucks, man, that has danger written all over it.
I think it's going to be a wreck fest, to be perfectly honest. Those concrete Jersey barriers, they're not kind, and we tend to get after it in a truck.
I love that.
It didn't take long, Michael. We did have some carnage right off the bat. Cole Butcher, unfortunately.
That's so sad that had to happen to him. Just then it got worse. Ran into the wall again, and this is the third time, and finally got it back to the garage area.
They got that truck back to the garage. It's interesting. I love hearing all these drivers. When you do something for the first time, I mean, they race all the time, but to do something for the first time like here, I love the idea of it. I love what they have to say about it.
Absolutely. I'm just hearing Caden Honeycutt saying that he just did what he did at the Roval, which is pretend like you know what you're doing. I mean, it sounds like my last 15 years in broadcast television. Just, you know, fake it till you make it, I guess, as we see Dario Franchitti sitting. I mean, a lot of these drivers right now, Michael, desperately want to be back on track. They're thinking, oh, I learned so much on that last lap. I need a chance to put it together.
That's what you're all about as a racer. You're like, get your bearings about you, like figure out where the bumps are, where the braking zones are, and then go run faster. And they all want to do just that. And really frustrating with all the anticipation for this practice session and this day, not to be in those trucks. It's got to be hard on them.
Not a good sign to see Andres Perez out of his truck. Georgia, I hear you caught up with the driver.
I sure have. I'm here with Brendan Butterbean Queen, and he just told me that he's never actually been interviewed inside his truck. So this is the first of many. His first time on a street course, too. You at least got to see the track from the cockpit of the truck. What was that like?
Yeah, it's awesome. I know it's going to be a challenge for me, just no road course experience hardly, but as I was telling you earlier, like this is something I want to conquer is get good on the road courses. And yeah, I probably got about maybe 3/4 of a lap there without having traffic, letting people go there, and had to come to pit road. So I wish I could have got maybe one more lap at speed or so. Like, just honestly wasn't really worried about speed or the practice sheet. I just don't want to wreck this thing in practice, and it'll come to me in a race once you're around people racing. But just try not to minimize my mistakes and make sure we race this Cummins 1500 instead of having to pull out a backup Ram. We don't want to do that. We want to be in the primary Cummins Ram 1500.
Now, you won on all types of racetracks, and you did tell me this is a challenge. You really want to conquer it. Is that what it stems from?
Yeah, I just don't like losing, right? Just like everybody, and I just always say I'm not going to let them outwork me. So, like, I did a lot of prep with some iRacing buddies this week, and just trying everything I could on my own with film and talking to my teammates and talking to AJ Allmendinger, just really taking advantage of everything I had there. And at least we didn't pile anything up there. There's a couple of laps we were out there, but definitely wish it wouldn't have rained, just so I could have ran more laps or ran the practice out, whether I was last, 15th, 20th, wherever, it doesn't matter. Just seat time.
Thanks, Brendan. Amanda.
Yeah, Georgia, and it's still a little sprinkly here down on the front stretch. And catching up with Adam Andretti, we saw him at Atlanta last week, and we'll see him a couple times more this season as well. But Adam telling me he's got some experience here on the streets of St. Pete. What are your expectations here this weekend, Adam?
You know, I don't come here to just sit here and fill a field. I'm here to try and win this thing. I got a great truck here. The Tricon Garage has prepared this Toyota Tundra, and with support like I have with Topliner, I'm here to win this thing. So we're just easing into the practice session here. You don't want to get out there and make this concrete at any point in the weekend, and certainly you don't want to get behind the 8-ball by hitting it either early in practice. So we're just getting a good feel for the truck. I know where I need to make up some time already, and now we just need this weather to stop for us.
You told me you were in Atlanta for not only experience for this weekend, but ahead of hopefully getting a license to see you a lot more, even on super speedways and stuff as well. But we've been talking about here specifically, truck experience or track experience matters more?
I think it's equal. You know, as we've already seen in practice, the regular truckers are pretty darn good here. So I think it's a little bit of both. But, you know, I think anytime you have more experience in the truck, it helps out a lot, especially with the way the simulation is nowadays. These drivers nowadays, they get a lot of time to find out where these courses go and what to learn about their grip levels before they even show up. So I think Caden's P1 right now in the 11 truck, and that just shows he's done so much of that simulation work. He works so hard at his craft, so to see him up there is really good. So absolutely, having experience in the truck is a big, big deal.
Good luck to Adam. And Jamie, we'll see him at Watkins Glen in San Diego.
Thank you. I mean, so impressive. We talked about at the top what he was able to do last week. First time on an oval. Here he is, hometown, Brownsburg, Indiana. He is the nephew of Mario Andretti. And he's brother to the late, great John Andretti. Been racing in Trans Am. He's done a lot, but this is more his wheelhouse, turning left and right.
Well, you see that Trans Am experience for Adam Andretti. I had a chance to talk to Adam this morning, and I wanted to talk to him about his run in Atlanta because, you know, he had no experience.
That had to be so
in a truck on an oval. Oh my God, he was so
crazy.
Sideways on that first stint. He said, I just thought that's how it was in these things. He said, but we had a right front going down, and I had no idea. And all I did was just hang on. He said, if I had more experience, I would have pitted absolutely to try to save the truck. But what a gutsy, gritty drive from him in Atlanta. And it's nice to see that he's right in the top 10 to fire off here after 5 laps.
Yeah, well done for Adam. Good speed early on in this practice session, guys. The rain's getting heavier. We'll be back from St. Pete. Practice for the NASCAR Craftsman Truck Series has been canceled, as well as qualifying. As you see him covering up the trucks, that rain is coming down pretty good. So that's unfortunate, but the good thing is we weren't sure we were even going to get some laps in. So all these truckers had a chance to see the track, feel it out, set things up as we go racing tomorrow at noon on Fox. Let's take a look at our lineup.
We're going to have a big noon kickoff for NASCAR on
Yes,
Fox
we are.
tomorrow, and it's going to be amazing. Check out Connor Mozak taking them to the green.
He owes Kyle Busch a beer for that one after winning last week. That metric got him the pole.
Gio Ruggiero there firing off on the front row. First Toyota in line, and then little Jimmy Hinch, third based on the metric, but fourth legit on times. Impressive for Hinchcliffe to get up to speed right away with that track knowledge.
Same thing with Adam Andretti inside the top 10 with his speed, and will start up in the top 10 as well. Justin Haley, a little bit of work to do in that Ram. We know everything's new to these teams, and they're developing as fast as they can. See if he can pick up the pace.
You want a sleeper in this field. Look at row 8, Colin Brown in the Ram number 25. That guy has been in sports car racing in all kinds of tracks, including street circuits, for a long, long time. And he used to get his start. Well, he got his start in the Truck Series way back when.
Minnie Terrell, he's going to be a happy young man when they go racing tomorrow. Talk to that team, and they're also pumped up about being here. And there's Jackson Lee making his start.
One of 3 drivers making their Truck Series debut.
A couple guys I think
field. Look at this.
I know, a couple of 3 guys that I think can win are all starting outside the top 20. So Christian Eckes will be strong tomorrow, as will Daniel Hemrick.
So we're looking forward to tomorrow, gentlemen. Townsend Bell will be joining Michael and myself. You see it right there. 12 Eastern on Fox. We got the Firestone Grand Prix of St. Petersburg. IndyCar opens up their season Sunday at 12 Eastern. And I'll be in Kodo. We got that going too, Michael. Big weekend on Fox. As it rains here, we'll see you tomorrow. Hopefully much better weather.